Everybody can take photos nowadays, but here are 3 easy practical tips that will help you stand out. Well, your photos will stand out. You might just look the same. And a portion of this video is brought to you by Milanote. Whether you're using a dedicated camera or even a smartphone, I want to share with you some pro-level mindsets that you can immediately try at home or even out in the world.
Tip number 1, adding foreground.
So here's a tip that will instantly make your photos stand out. Add foreground elements. Now, foreground is simply the opposite of background. It's the things that's closest to the camera. And together with the background, it kind of helps sandwich your subject of interest in between, making them more captivating to the viewer's eyes. Why, hello there. Now, it might help if we start thinking our compositions as layers. You have the background layer, the subject or the midground layer, and then the foreground layer. What's funny is that our eyes tend to ignore these foreground elements the most, but somehow having them in the shot just makes it far more interesting, which makes this a subtle but powerful technique to enhance our photos. Don't believe me? Here's a popular pagoda shot in Kyoto, Japan. Now, most tourists would take this photo here and just call it a day, but then later get underwhelmed that their photos look the same as everyone else's. But by simply finding and adding these surrounding leaves, yes, they are real, they're on location, they're not AI generated, we suddenly have this nice G-hook shape to enclose the pagoda. Beautiful. Now, to take it up a notch, we can even use certain foreground elements to make a frame within a frame to create an even more interesting look. It's personally one of my favorite ways to shoot, so challenge yourself to find windows, doors, or even people to enclose your subject of interest.
Tip number 2, look deeper for surrounding details.
Listen, I'm sure this happened to you before. You show up to a hot tourist photo spot, everybody taking the same wide shot, and it just really dilutes the experience. You know what I mean? These same photos keep getting uploaded on social media to the point where it just makes these famous landmarks and iconic architecture just feel so boring, which really sucks because they're famous and iconic for a reason. Besides their grand history, there are a ton of intricate little details not only within them, but also around them that are easily missed, both in a wide photo and in person. Take the classic Eiffel Tower here, for example. In a wide shot, the Eiffel Tower is the most apparent thing, and it's just so easy to ignore the rest of the cityscape. But by using a long telephoto lens and simply pointing down at the base of it and zooming in, we start to notice things that we've missed while we were there. The merry-go-round, the lamppost and the statue, the pink cars in the middle, and there are text on the tower itself? How have I not noticed this before? And all of this was just us simply pointing somewhere else and zooming in. That's it. This is what I love about photography, because we can shift the focus, quite literally, to something else and bring in a whole new perspective from the same old. Now, to go further beyond, again, quite literally, use these famous icons as backdrops instead. Make them less significant in the shot for other mundane things like statues, lockets, or other buildings that are often photographed least by tourists. People will still know that these photos are taken in Paris because of the Eiffel Tower, but now they get to see something else that's unique.
Bonus tip, planning ahead.
Now, here's a photography tip that others hardly ever share, and that is it involves copious amount of planning. It makes sense, right? You're about to go somewhere far from home, you're very limited on time, so by the end of the trip, you're gonna wanna leave with some incredible shots. Having a semblance of what you're going to capture is gonna help immensely with that. So I'm gonna share with you how we plan our trips around the specific photos that we wanna take with Milanote. It's a tool that we've been using for the last several years prior to this sponsorship, which makes it even more exciting to share with you guys. Milanote is a versatile tool that can help anyone organize their ideas and projects visually. Kind of think of it as an unstructured blank wall and you have a bunch of post-it notes around full with your random thoughts. You can then shift these post-it notes around to turn your jumbled thoughts and ideas into a linear and well-organized visual map. So here's how we did ours for our Japan autumn trip back in 2022. So our goal here was to capture this specific shot of Mount Fuji with the red autumn leaves by the lake. We usually just need that one inspo photo to get us going somewhere. But going there for one photo is crazy, so naturally we wanted to capture stuff in the same area. So in comes this mood board here where we gather any relevant photos of Mount Fuji during the autumn foliage. Not only did this hype me up because this is such a sick shot and I wanted something like this, but it also gave me some good insights about the area since we couldn't physically go there and scout prior to the trip. So we learned that we were going to be quite close to this pagoda right here, so we gathered a couple more images and we can easily drop them into our board like this, and we can move things around like a sticky post-it note, and we can add text as well. For example, we noticed a lot of these are the same type of wide shots on Google, so what if we use a telephoto lens instead? Wide Fuji shot overdone. What if we use telephoto compression? Maybe? And this mood board was great because my partner Vivian instantly got the idea what I wanted to capture.
True.
Coming back out under the same reference column, we had our autumn leaves forecast. That's super incredibly important because we need to know when peak time was. A couple articles suggesting where to go for the best views. Next column over, the gear that I'm planning to bring and the hotels that we booked.
That we booked?
But the schedule here was the important part. We have the dates, we have the corresponding emojis of what the weather would be like while we were there, and you can see that it rained on our day of arrival. It says right here, hike up to Chura-Ita Pagoda to grab sunset shot if possible pending wedding conditions. If not, be sad then. Yes, we were pretty sad. We actually had an entire vlog series dedicated to this exact trip and how everything went wrong for us, which you can queue up to watch right up here. It's called Travel Gone Vong.
Travel Gone Vong.
But anyways, we had the sunrise and sunset times here to help remind us when the best lighting will occur, quick visual reference to the spots so both of us knew where we're going and the activities we're gonna do. And for this ultra specific money shot right here, we learned that we needed to be there for sunrise only because the sun needed to hit the water at a certain time to reflect the light off the water and onto the leaves in order for us to get this shot. And it was a good thing that we found out about this before the trip, because imagine traveling all the way out there and showing up at sunset instead. Oh. Now, while we had these reference photos that we drew from the internet, of course we went beyond taking the same photos. Going back to what we talked about earlier, it's about giving a whole new perspective of the same thing. And all in all, a pretty epic trip, I would say. So that was one of the ways that we use Milanote, and of course you can use it however you like. They have very helpful templates to help you get started, whether it's storyboarding, posing ideas, set dressing designs, etc. You can try out Milanote for yourself for free by signing up with the link in the description box below. And we have one more tip to share with you guys, but thank you Milanote for sponsoring, and thank you guys for listening.
Tip number 3, finding color.
So you have a week off, you're finally on vacation, you show up to your dream destination and the weather could not be any more gray. On top of that, it's gonna rain the whole week while you're there. Welcome to the sunshine and rainbows we saw on the internet. I'm looking at you, Amsterdam, you and your dark, murky skies. In situations like these, we simply default to finding color. Distinct, vibrant colors will help the subject pop out more in an otherwise dull scene, and we can use editing later to really enhance those colors. Now, we actually have a free 1-hour virtual photo walk on how to do street and travel photography, especially in dull weather climates, which you can click right up here to queue up. No sign up necessary, I promise you it's completely free. My friend Professor Hines and I will share the elements that we look out for, like subjects, objects, lighting, and color, and how we combine those elements to make a great shot. Along with a full-blown editing session turning photos like this into this. While it is titled The Ultimate Guide to iPhone Photography, I assure you it goes beyond iPhone. A lot of what we share are general photography principles that can be applied to all cameras, so click right up here to queue it up. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Check out Milanote and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Ew.